For today's math lesson, we are completing our last lesson in Topic 7. Topic 7, Lesson 7, is called Repeated Reasoning. Our learning intention for today's lesson is I can find better, faster ways to solve problems. Our Solve and Share begins on page 309 in our Envisions Volume 1 workbook. Our Solve and Share says, how can you find the number of apples on the ground without counting them one at a time? Explain your shortcut. Let's think of all of the different ways we have been counting. We have been counting by ones, fives, and also tens. I don't want to have to count one at a time, so that would be by counting by ones. So we're not going to use that strategy. How about counting by tens? By the looks of it, I can see there are a lot of apples. I can look at my apples here and find a group of 10 to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I can circle my big group. Now I can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's my second group. Then I can count the leftovers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have 10 plus 10 plus 5. This gives me 25 apples total. 10, 25. If you count it by fives or tens, but your picture looks a little bit different, that's okay, as long as you got 25 as your answer. Let's move on to our next activity. Now let's watch our animated video to help us follow along the top of our workbook page 310.
Matt spills some puzzle pieces on the floor. 61 pieces are still in the box. How can Matt find the number of puzzle pieces in all? You are asked to find how Matt can find the number of puzzle pieces in all. What do you already know? You know that Matt spilled some puzzle pieces on the floor, and that 61 puzzle pieces are still in the box. How can you use what you know to solve the problem? What does it mean to use what you know to solve the problem? It means to think about how you will use the information that you have to find how many puzzle pieces in all. You can look for shortcuts and things that repeat. To look for a shortcut means to look for a faster way to solve the problem. To look for things that repeat means to use something over and over in order to solve the problem. Circle a group of 10 and count on. Repeat until there are no more groups of 10. Then count on by ones. What repeats in solving this problem? Circling and counting groups of 10 repeats. How many groups of 10 puzzle pieces are on the floor? There are 2 groups of 10. How do you count the puzzle pieces in the box and the groups of 10?
Select your answer.
The puzzle pieces in the box says that there are 61 pieces. Then I have 2 groups of 10. This would mean I have 61 pieces and 20 pieces here. When I am looking for how I would show this, I need to find where it begins with 61 and then shows me adding by 10. 61, 62, 63 is by ones. 61, 71, 72, that's counting by ones and tens. 61, 71, 81, that is showing counting by tens.
61, 71, 81. Why do you start counting at 61? You start at 61 because there are 61 puzzle pieces left in the box. How do you count the puzzle pieces that are not in a group of 10? Count the remaining pieces by ones. 61, 71, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. How many puzzle pieces are there in all? There are 85 puzzle pieces in all. Now you know how to use repeated reasoning to solve problems.
Great thinking!
For our guided practice, still on page 310, it says, how many in all? Use a shortcut to count on. Tell what shortcut you used. When it is talking about what shortcut you used, it means instead of counting every single one, you either counted by tens, fives, or ones. The first one has been completed for us. Let's see how they did it. We see a box with 30 shoes and then a lot of other shoes scattered. Our example says they had a total of 58 shoes. Then it says, I counted on by tens and ones. They knew that there were 30 shoes in the box and then counted by tens and ones to find 58. We had 30 plus 10, 40, plus 10, 50, and then counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to give us 58. Now let's look at number 2. In number 2, we have a box of 60 muffins, and then the rest of the muffins are scattered. I'm going to use my strategy of counting by tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then to count the rest, I will count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted 60 plus 10, 20. That would be 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 84 muffins. I counted on by tens and ones. Now let's look at your independent practice on page 311. For your independent practice on page 311, we are going to be completing the exact same activity as our guided practice. The directions say, how many in all? Use a shortcut to count on. Tell what shortcut you used. For number 3, you have 25 watches in the box. Then you have a lot of scattered watches. You can count on by using 2s, 5s, or even 10s. Counting by 1s would take a very long time, and we want to use a shortcut. So that means a style different than counting on by 1s. So what you will need to do is pick which strategy you're going to use to count up these watches and make sure you add that number to your box. Just to be sure, let's do number 3 together. I have 25 watches in the box, but I need to figure out how many I have here. The strategy that I am going to use, I'm going to count by tens. That's my favorite strategy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 watches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have 10, 20, plus 25. That would give me 45 watches. The strategy that I used was that I counted by tens. If you used a different strategy, such as counting by 2s or 5s, then you would write your answer here in the blank for how you counted on. The most important is that we all get the same answers, no matter what strategy we use. Now I would like you to complete problems 4, 5, and 6 as part of your independent practice activity. If you get stuck, you can use the example from number 3, the video, and our guided practice. The last section of your workbook page includes short answer writing. I am going to be helping you solve 7, 8, and 9. This says, students and snowmen. 62 students stay inside at recess. The rest each build a snowman outside. How can you count to find the number of students in all? Number 7 says, make sense. What do you know about the students? What do you need to find? Let's look back at our story problem and see, what do we know? We know 62 students stay inside. The rest build a snowman outside. Let's begin there. We could say 62 students stay inside and the rest build snowmen. That is what we know, that 62 students stay inside and the rest build snowmen. What do we need to find? It says, how can you count to find the number of students in all? What do we need to find? The number of students in all. We could say, I need to find how many students in all. And I'm using my writing tool because for the space that I have with my writing tool, I would not be able to put all of it here and written very nicely. So please just pause the video as you are writing, and if you want to say something a little bit different, you do not have to say the words that I do. This is just a sample answer of what we could say, but you can use your own words, you could shorten it, however you would like to say it, as long as you include the information that we know and the information that we need. Remember to pause the video as you are working so that you have time to write your answers. Number 8 says reasoning. What does the number of snowmen tell me? We know that 62 students stayed inside. What would the number of snowmen tell me? Would that tell me how many students stayed inside at recess? Or how many built a snowman outside? The number of snowmen would show me how many students went outside and built a snowman. For number 8, we could say a number tells how many students went outside. And again, if you would like to word your answer a little bit differently, you absolutely can. What does the number of snowmen tell me? The number tells how many students went outside. Again, remember to pause the video so that you have time to write and work on your answers. We have one more to answer. For number 9, it says generalize. How many students in all? What shortcut did you use to find the answer? To find this, we will need to count the number of snowmen. We know there were 62 students inside. Now for number 9, you can do this a few different ways. Some people will count by 2s, 5s, or 10s. The strategy that I am going to use is counting by 10s. If you would like to use a different strategy, you absolutely can. I'm going to begin by counting my snowmen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have my first group of 10, and if you're using a different strategy, that is perfectly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's my next group of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I have a few 1s. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to count the total number together. I started with 62, and now I'm going to count by 10s from 62. 72, 82, 92, 102, 103, 104, 105. There are 105 students. And then I will say, I counted by, and the strategy I used was 10s and 1s. Now, if you counted by a different strategy and still got the same answer, you will say 105 students, I counted by 2s, or I counted by 5s. Whichever strategy that you used to solve for number 9. And remember, you do not have to say exactly what I said. You can write your own answer. I just wanted us to do this last lesson together, mainly because it is a lot of writing. And since we are at a distance, sometimes it can be hard to do that at home. This is our last lesson in topic 7. So when we return from spring break, we are going to be reviewing to take our test. We will have a really fun activity to complete for topic 7 coming up shortly. If you have any questions about your lesson today, please let me know, and I'll see you later.